catch. CATCHIMPIPS. I've been CATCHIMPIPS. I've been.
Hey, it's your man Charlie P. Wanted to do something a little bit different or try something new this time around. A question I get a lot is people asking me, how often do you see your strategies play out? Or how many pips should I expect to catch using your strategies every week? Well, I wanted to give an idea of the answer to that by showing you, looking back on the whole trading week and seeing what all setups presented themselves and how many pips you could have caught on each one, so that you can get an idea, using the strategies that I teach, what a perfect trading week would look like. So we're going to go Monday through Friday, find all the setups, and we're going to talk about them. Before we do that, I do want to give a shout out to Henko Trade, which is my personal broker of choice, the broker that I suggest that you use as well. I've got a link in the description. If you should choose to use Henko Trade, consider using my link. I do teach everything on here for free. I don't ask for much. I don't ask for any direct payments or, charge you for nothing. So the least you can do is click on the link for you. But yeah, great spreads, quick payouts, customer service is awesome, website's easy to navigate. They got all the pairs and indices, all that stuff that you could want. So definitely check out Henko Trade. With that said, guys, let's jump into the video. All right, perfect trading week. Let's go. So on Monday, we start off on GJ, which gave us an angel dust setup. We had peak. It came up, made a center point. So I'm going to draw a line at my center point right here. And then, actually, there we go. And then on Sunday market open, we had a pass candle. This H1 candle closed past our center point, effectively giving us PCP, or peak, center, and pass. All I have to do at that point is go to the 15-minute time frame and wait on price to go down and grab our 50 EMA. So let me go back to October 17th. All right. So in London session is when price came down and grabbed the 50 EMA right here. So our entry should have been just below the 50 EMA on the 15-minute time frame, essentially really where our line is drawn. And you could have caught upwards of 300 pips on that trade. I definitely missed that trade. I was not up for London session. I was extra mad about that in the morning. But that was our Monday trade. On Tuesday, now Tuesday I actually made a video about the trade that I caught on this one. This was on the Euro CAD. This was my Londonine strategy, which is a brand new strategy that I just debuted with that video, but I'll quickly go over it again here, which is where price was hovering along the 10 EMA here. It gave us a false move down, and then the 9 o'clock chart time candle specifically came up and closed past our the entire structure. The difference between Londonine and, because some of y'all might say, well, what's the difference between like this and PCP? Londonine specifically is the 9 o'clock candle that has to do the pass, and it doesn't just have to pass the center, it has to pass the highest point in this structure, or if we were selling, the lowest point in the structure. This was the highest point in this minor structure, and you see it close past that. That makes that Londonine. So the 9 o'clock candle passed the highest point in the structure. But anyway, so we closed past that. Then, of course, as always, I just have to go down to the 15-minute time frame. So let's go back to October 18th and just wait on price to come down, grab the 50 EMA. And so we get in anywhere up under the 50 EMA right here. Anywhere in this is good. And then we could have caught upwards of about 85 pips. I think I caught 70 pips on that trade and got out. But Londonine, that was the perfect trade on Tuesday. On Wednesday, I did not have anything that showed up, but the closest thing that did almost happen, and the thing that I had my eye on, was on AUD USD. I thought it was an Omega trade because we had all this consolidation happening between the 144 and the 50 EMA, or happening around it. Of course, it's not just between it, because a lot of it is above it, but we had a lot of consolidation around the 144 and the 50 EMA, just all this bouncing. And then my last prominent point was here, and I had this H1 candle close right here. So at this point, I'm looking at the 15-minute chart like, yo, all I need to do is come back and grab the 50 EMA. And I'm looking at it to do it somewhere up in here, but the rules of Omega say the 15-minute has to come back and grab the 50 EMA before it crosses over the 144 EMA. And it crossed over first, then it came back up and grabbed it. So I left it alone. Now it still went in my favor, but so it still went in my favor. I mean, there was 46 pips we could have caught that day, or if we could have held it, we could have caught upwards of about 68, 69 pips. But I did follow the rules to the T on that one. I stayed out of the trade. So I'll just say that was a disciplinary win. And, so that was Wednesday. That was the closest thing that I saw to a potential trade on Wednesday. But Wednesday ended up being a no trade day. Thursday. What was Thursday? USD CAD. Thursday was USD CAD. Now, USD CAD was a really ugly killer crossover setup. It started consolidating around the 144 and the 50 EMA. So I actually would say you would look at it like it was going to be an Omega setup initially. But once the killer crossover, once the EMAs crossed over during the Asian session, then your mind frame should have switched up to say, all right, now I need to look at it as a killer crossover setup. You could have put a line here as your last prominent point, and then the market closed an H1 candle past that last prominent point right here. But it closed that H1 candle past it during the London session. What could have tripped you up on this, and reasonably so, is that the crossover did not happen towards the center of the structure. And I preach that all the time. Like, it's way more probable if the crossover is in the center of the structure. Now that means it's way more probable. It doesn't mean that if it's not in the center of the structure, it's just not a good trade. It's just not as probable. In this situation, it worked out great. So you can still take that. You may want to lower your lot size in that situation, but I would still say take the trade because it does work out sometimes. So, but yeah, it closed past it. You could have taken this one of two ways. You could have stayed on H1 and just waited on price to come up and grab the 50 EMA here, or you could have gone to the 15-minute time frame and scroll back just a little bit and waited on price to come up and grab the 50 EMA on the 15-minute time frame before it crossed over the purple. So since we're on the 15-minute time frame already, I'll just draw another line here and say this could have been your entry, and you could have caught upwards of 120 pips. So that was a good trade for Thursday on USD CAD, ugly killer crossover. And then Friday was on Euro USD. That was also a really ugly killer crossover setup. So on Friday, the consolidation on Euro USD, well, I can't even call it consolidation because it made a really big upward move. But starting over here is where the formation would have started. So it came up, made a big upward move. It came back down. Our crossover happened right here, and then price flew up and H1 closed above our last prominent point, which would have been the top of this right here, because this was a prominent point. It came up, made a sharp, abrupt stop, and then went back down. So, and then H1 came up, it closed beyond that prominent point. So you could have entered this one of two ways. Either one, stay on H1, and when it came below that 50 EMA, you could have hopped in, or for a more precise entry, you could have gone to the 15-minute chart and waited on it to grab the 50 EMA, which it did right here. And so get in here, you could have caught upwards of about 100 pips even on the Euro USD on Friday. So that right there in a nutshell is the perfect week, Monday through Friday, using my strategies. Now, granted, if you trade different pairs than I do, and then your week is going to look different. But just based on the pairs that I trade, that's the perfect week. So just stay patient. Don't gamble. The setups are there, and you can catch hundreds of pips per week if you just play your cards right. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all next time. Have a good weekend, and let's get ready to make some money next week.